Uh-oh. There we go. Hey. Welcome back to the channel. Now, one more video for the day. I'm going to give y'all like 4 of these. But worst April since the Great Depression. Trump's China trade war triggers massive market meltdown. Subscribe. Turn on post notifications. Smash the like button. Let's get it. Let's go.
Right now, a lot of people are concerned with what's going on. Yesterday, the market had another, 2.5%, 3% correction, give or take, whatever the number was. Here, JP Morgan Chase details exactly how they think Trump's trade war will play out and what investors should do. Okay, so let's see what the story from Insider is saying in regards to Chase's predictions with Trump's tariffs. Okay. So JP Morgan Chase predicts Trump's tariffs will lead to some deals with trade partners with the effective tax rate rising to 10 to 20% compared to 2% earlier this year. The firm noted this represents a meaningful increase in imports duties, but lands within Wall Street estimates pre-Liberation Day, expecting economic growth to slow, unemployment and inflation to rise, but the U.S. to avoid a full recession. The bank recommends structured notes for investors, stating they can simultaneously provide defensive exposure to stocks while delivering income through options premiums. Upside, offering a strategy to navigate the tariff included market uncertainty. JP Morgan Chase advises incorporating hedge funds into diversified portfolios, noting that volatility will allow hedge funds to exploit market mispricings and relative value play across asset classes. Tom?
Well, before he starts talking, that means that JP Morgan is preparing for the worst. They're not preparing for the best, they're preparing for the worst. And they're telling us it's going to be bad. This is a bank that knows money, understands economies, understands everything. It's telling us, like, look, we need to get prepared for the worst. Because if this dude's not going to back off on these trades, if this dude's not going to back off on these tariffs, and China's not going to back off on their tariffs, our economy is going to be hit massively. It's already being hit by the stock market, but it hasn't hit our pockets fully yet here, but it's going to. And we need to get prepared.
Business Insider is covering JP Morgan, and JP Morgan had a big letter that came out a week and a half ago. And one of the things that people noted in there is they seem to be having, or trying to have, a calming effect on investors. Like they're saying, hey, we think the tax rate will be 10 to 20% of some of these tariffs compared to 2%, which is what we estimated pre-Liberation Day. So what they're trying to say, Vinny, is, hey, what we said before Liberation Day when the market started going crazy, and that was April 2nd, hey, it's happening. It's happening about that way. So they're trying to have a calming effect. And then what they're mentioning to people is, structured notes. And I won't go into deep detail. Adam could probably talk about it too. But a structured note is basically an investment vehicle that allows you a little bit of downside protection and a little bit of upside protection, and you get a little coupon in there. So what they're saying is there are other investment products that are designed for times when the markets and the financial instruments are volatile. And I felt like, Pat, that what Business Insider was covering, but they missed the headline. I think they blew the headline. It would be JP Morgan recommends calm and consider alternative investments as the tariff situation, trade war plays out, and we think it's going to land 10 to 20% tax on certain goods, which is what we said before Liberation Day. And I think they missed the headline, because I think that's what JP Morgan is, that's exactly what they're saying here. And oh, by the way, call JP Morgan because we can help you buy some of these things. Operators are standing by.
Adam?
That's the thing, though. Trump is so all over the place that investors aren't sure even on that. Like, even though there are safer investments, yeah, that's a good point. Invest in safer investments, right? However, though, what is a safe investment right now? What will be considered safe? I definitely recommend call JP Morgan and see what they have to say. I think I might do that actually this weekend. I think I might do that this weekend. Call them and see what they got to say, because I lost a lot of money in the stock market. At this point, I have lost a whole lot of money in the stock market. So I don't know, man. I don't know. This president, man. I get it. Some of you are team him, but I don't know. Like, the market will always go back up. I'm not worried about that. It's just knowing that the reason why is because of the uncertainty, not necessarily because anything that anybody has actually done yet. It's just the uncertainty of the markets. And yeah. And tariffs don't seem to be good at all. They don't seem to be a good idea at all, but we'll see.
I guess, for those of us that support Trump, many of us in this room, including myself who voted for Trump, at what point are we going to sound the alarm and say, I don't know, is this actually working out? I think we all understand the need for tariffs. I think we all understand the need for taking on China. I think we all understand the need for not kicking the can down the road. But at the same time, when are we going to say, is this actually working? I think it's totally fair to ask questions. This is Tom and I were talking about this earlier. The number one story in the Wall Street Journal was the following. The Dow is now headed for the worst April in 100 years as investors send a no confidence signal to the market. Now, we all said brace for impact. We kind of have to have a short term, take a couple steps back in order to take 10 steps forward. But the market is getting a little fearful. As Warren Buffett always says, be fearful when people are greedy, be greedy when people are fearful. I'm still investing in the market. I'll always bet on America. But if you go to the Fear-Greed Index, which we tend to take a look at on this show, right now, people are in extreme fear. So, I don't want to be, this is not a joke, but on Liberation Day, April 2nd, the only thing that's been liberated so far is trillions of dollars of wealth from the U.S. stock market. And I don't want that, nor does anybody want that. But since then, since there's potentially the worst April in almost 100 years, the Dow is down, stocks are down, the S&P is down, the dollar is down, U.S. treasuries and bonds are down, consumer sentiment is down, gold is up because that's obviously a store of value, the VIX is up because that's volatility index, and the fear and greed index is very fearful. So at what point do we say, look, Trump, we're rooting for you, bro? But hopefully this thing turns around very quickly.
Is 3 months too
Love everything that he just said. Because he's being unbiased. He supports Trump. He's being unbiased. But is this really working? No. Somebody has to somehow convince the man in the office, you won. You won the trade war, dude. Now, let's back off of this. Let's get back with our allies. Let's get back on our regular programming. Let's start building factories here on the low. Let's start incentivizing companies to come back here in a different kind of way. But these tariffs might just not be it, man. It might not be the thing that should be good for our economy. But who knows? Could be. I could be wrong. Let's see what this guy has to say. So I think he said 3 months too early is where he started.
And I get it, Adam, trust me, I'm with you 100%, but isn't this something that we have to go through as a nation because of how horrible everything, $37 trillion in debt, nobody respects the Trump.
I'm going to answer this and then I'm going to let you do your thing. The debt is obviously one thing, but the tariffs are a totally other thing. I understand, what Doge is doing, but if Trump, who is very mindful of his legacy and how things are talked about in the news, even if he doesn't trust the mainstream media. This is the lowest S&P has ever been since inauguration for any president in 100 years. So this is not a good look for Trump. We're all rooting for this to turn around. Yeah. But my simple question is, at what point do we sound the alarm bells and say, I don't know?
Let me tell you what I did yesterday.
And we don't have to go through it. There's other ways we could do this. There's other ways. Democrats always seem to get the budget lower. They do. People think they spend more than they get. No, they get the budget lower to a degree. Republicans do too. There's ways to do this. Clinton did it. Clinton did the massive cuts that Trump is doing right now, but he did it in an effective way. Like, Clinton had one of the highest economic booms ever of almost any president, right? And he did it the same kind of things that Trump wants to do. He's doing it the same kind of way without the tariffs, though. And he did open the North American Free Trade Agreement, but it doesn't seem like that was a bad thing in the long term of it all, because it made us effective traders around the world. Did it make everybody play fair? Maybe not, but from my understanding, it's okay. Hey, Mama Bear. You getting ready to leave? Oh, okay, hold on. I'm finishing this reaction. Okay, babe?
Take a shine, please.
Okay.
So for me, yesterday, I looked into a couple things. I went and looked into, and it's so funny you were saying that. You were kind of headed in that direction. Rob, can you go pull up the following? What are the longest any trade deals took? Go on ChatGPT and ask the question, what is the longest any trade deal took?
You know, I really like him because he rose to success from being an immigrant, and he's the epitome of the American story. But what I can't stand about Republicans and Democrats sometimes on either side is like, damn, dude, we know you play for the red team. Now you're trying to find some information to back what the guy just said at the very beginning. That is a very, very good point. The guy is a Trump supporter. That guy was a Trump supporter. Said, hey, look, man, I don't know if this is working. This is the lowest the market has ever been in 100 years. Is this good for his legacy? No. So something else needs to be done. Maybe there's more of an effective way to get this message across. There's got to be. But I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, if you pull it up, here's what you'll notice. I wanted to find out what's the longest. Okay, the longest trade deals ever. Doha Development Round, WTO, 23 years. It's still going. EU, Mercosur Agreement, that's EU, Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, 1999 to 2019, okay? And it's still not ratified, okay? Then you got Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, 13 years. WTO General Agreement on Trade and Services, 10 years. Canada, EU, 8 years. And then I want to put the fastest, and here's what I found with the fastest. U.S.-Jordan FTA, 4 months. This is in 2000. U.S.-Australia FTA, a trade agreement, fastest trade deals, 1 year. USMCA, 1.5 years. That's US, Mexico, Canada, 2017 to 2018. US, Singapore, 2 years. So even the fourth fastest was 2 years. Okay? By the way, people who are watching this, they're shaking right now. You understand what I'm saying? They're kind of like, what are you talking about? It's going to take 2 years this long to go through this. That's what you think is going to take place? Well, if this is truly something that's a dramatic change that we're going to be making, this is something we have to go through. So now, I then looked up to see what companies were taking a hit, okay? And there's two different types of deals, bilateral trade deals, 2 countries. It takes 1 to 5 years.
Before he goes any further, I want you to understand that he just said that we're waiting out 10 years of what's going on right now. Dude, we won't have an economy. We won't have an economy. No. I totally disagree with him on everything he just said. The trade deals that are going on like that are not followed up by tariffs and massive layoffs and economic downfall. They're disagreements that people are having that eventually they can come to the table and talk about it. But that is irrelevant to the conversation of can we go through what we're going through right now for the next 5-10 years? No. We can't go through what we're going through right now for the next 6 months. If you guys are really thinking about it, we can't go through what we're going through for the next 6 months. There are companies that I know that get hit last during depressions, during recessions, that I know personally get hit last that are talking about right now, they could be on the verge of getting hit. If these companies are getting hit, it's catastrophic what could happen. This dude, I love him. I love Patrick because Patrick is he's one of my favorite humans, man, because his rise to success. But definitely politically, I disagree. Disagree.
Multilateral trade deals, 3 countries plus, takes 5 to 10 years. Okay. But in the China trade deal, there are a lot of companies right now in China that are taking a hit. Because to them, they're just shutting down. They're telling employees, go home, we have no work for you. And this is real. That's happening. Okay? Mm-hmm. And some parts of America as well, some places are shutting down saying, we don't have work for you. We can't afford to have work for you. So the pain is there as we're going through it, right? You're hearing some small business owners talk about, I financed my, my mortgage, I'm taking money out of my mortgage to be able to do this and all the stuff that they're talking about. So the pain is definitely there. I had no idea what was going to happen with the Yetis. I had no idea. When our team said, Pat, they're not going to last, like this, all of it was gone. Next thing you know, we were swamped by messages of, Pat, can we get additional Yetis to do collaboration with Value Tim and Future Looks Bright? The next one is here. Now keep in mind, these will go very fast. Rob, if you want to play this clip, we got different ones. These are based on what many of you guys asked. This is the Future Looks Bright Yeti, whether it's a pink one, whether it's the red one, whether it's the Tiffany blue or the white. These seems to be, this one seems to be, it's sick. It's absolutely sick. Yeah, or even a smaller one that you got. And on top of this...
Okay, he's selling this product now, but... hey, man, it's a bad time to be selling your product. People ain't got no money for real, man. So now keep selling your product, man. Do what you got to do. But, hey, man, you know, like, I don't know. I don't think that we can sustain what's going on right now. I think that somebody just needs to go tell the president he won. You won, dude. You won. You got it. You won your trade war. Your legacy is protected. Now, let's get back to our regular programming before this gets out of control. I get it. We do need to find some way to bring down the budget. We need to find some way to limit the amount of spending that we're doing on certain things. But definitely, like, this is not the way to go about it. Like, tariffing other countries and limiting our partners and people out there that can help us within the process of the problems that we're having. I do think that what he's doing right now is bringing people to the table for a different kind of conversation, but I don't even know if the conversation that he's having is going to be good. But hey, y'all, you know, it is what it is. Whatever happens. You know, I just hope that it doesn't cause too much chaos, do too much damage, and then we got to get a Democrat in to fix it again, like we always do. I'm out, y'all. Peace. Peace.